Hello, everybody. This is Nasira, and I am the Energy Architect. Today, it is such a pleasure to invite Deepa Mahesh onto the podcast. Deepa, welcome. I'm so glad you could make it today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Deepa, you're most welcome. It's an honor to have you. You know, you've been up to so much of work. It is so inspiring, and I'd like to give the viewers and the listeners a small introduction. Okay.
Sure.
It's not so small because, Deepa does like so much every day and it just keeps adding to it. So Deepa is the founder and CEO of Poorna Wellbeing. Deepa Mahesh is a life leadership coach and an art-based leadership development facilitator. As a self-mastery expert, Deepa facilitates conscious leadership journeys through her coaching, workshops, and her training programs. Majoring in psychology, armed with a master's in human resource management, she initially worked for some of the top corporates of India, including Aditya Birla Group, as an HR leader. In search of her purpose, she quit to invest time in herself, which finally led to the birth of Poorna Wellbeing. Dance and other arts have been her friends since childhood. Her curiosity to explore the mind-body connection led her to exploring expressive art therapy and her profession, and thereafter practicing as an embodiment coach for leaders. As a natural progression, she completed her 6 years in Eurythmy training in 2022. She now holds Eurythmy workshops for adults and teaches the curriculum to primary school students of Kingdom of Childhood, a Waldorf school in Bangalore. She is a TEDx speaker, mandala artist, and a teacher, a eurythmist, dancer, and an embodiment coach, poet, and an upcoming author. Deepa balances her life with a myriad of passion projects. Deepa, this is so impressive.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Please
Thank
tell
you.
us about what all you've been up to.
Yeah, it feels good, and I love variety. There's never been a dull moment in my life because all the time I would be doing this and that and this and that. And initially it was like, why am I doing so many things? But today, after many years of engaging and immersing in some of these techniques, I realize that I have a toolkit of techniques which I've immersed in, which I've tried on myself, especially in the space of self mastery. And these techniques not only have helped me, I've understood which works, when it works, how it works, in what measure it works, and that's what I use in my work with leaders, in either in coaching or in facilitation. So I think a year from now, when I were to redo my profile, I think it'll look significantly different. Of course, some core elements will be the same, but a lot would have got added because you know me. I believe in manifestation, but for me, it's about first seeing it and then documenting it that this is what I want, and holding it kind of lightly, not so much, oh, I have to plan and organize and set goals and implement it, but really allowing it to simmer in my awareness, in my consciousness. And when an opportunity shows by, tapping on that, taking actions towards it, and to make it happen. So, yeah, I think there is a game plan, and I trust that there is a divine game plan for everything that's happening. And I am a partner with the divine in this whole flow.
I can see that. I can see that because the way things emerge to you, uh, and the way you connect between the knowing and the doing, I see that there is such a consistent flow that you create this momentum, not just for yourself, but also for everybody who is impacted by your energy. You know what the energy architect is all about, Deepa? It's like I told you, it's all about getting unstuck in life. A lot of people may have gone
Yes.
through childhood abuse. It could be mental abuse, emotional abuse.
Yes.
It could just be a limiting mindset, a mental block. And energy architect is there to actually show you that everything is energy, and if you really align all of these, you will be able to get unstuck. And that is why we try and bring guests such as you who can actually show people that there are tools out there that people can use for themselves and get unstuck and live their highest purpose.
Absolutely.
It's not
So
that somebody should ever resign to the fact that this is how I am and this is how my life is going to be, and there's nothing that I can do about it. And it is about designing your life with intention.
yes,
And each
exactly.
of us has the power to do that. And when you speak about how you have aligned your goals, with this vision of what you had for yourself, it is truly beautiful, and we would love to hear a little bit more about how you integrate this wisdom with leadership. How is it that you, because there is this ancient wisdom I know that you are completely into, and there are so many practices I can see from your profile. It's like so many things, and you are in the state of this motion, and then you kind of bring this thing about leadership into the picture, and how you very artfully kind of integrate the two is something that I would love to hear.
Beautiful. I must say that you are very intuitive because the words you use artfully, the other word is energy. I think these are very the choicest words that you have used right now, and I so resonate with it. I call myself an artist. And normally, when we say, artist, it's about drawing or either a dancer, etc. But I think for me, life is art. And I truly feel like creativity is the tool for an artist, and I'm full of that. So for me, this whole journey started when I think when I was young, coming from a Tamil Brahmin family, I was introduced to religion and ritualistic practices, chants, singing, dancing. It all was there ingrained in me. But at that time, it was about achieving, let's say finishing your arangetram or finishing your music, being a part of these competitions, etc. And that did not connect with me at all. So somewhere, I think I let go that deep feeling or connection that I had with arts. And then I became a volunteer in the Chinmaya mission. So when I was in the Chinmaya mission, which is a voluntary spiritual organization, and I was in Mumbai at that time, I had this opportunity to be exposed to the scriptures, to our ancient Indian scriptures, and studying the Vedanta. So, for any of us, we have three paths to self-development and self-inquiry. One is the marg of bhakti, through devotion. Second is through karma, which is really serving. And the third is through jnana, which is through inquiring, through contemplation. For me, the karma and the bhakti came very naturally to me. And the institution offered us avenues to really serve. We used to organize a lot of events for children, for adults, for humankind. And when I used to organize, I used to listen to the scriptures, to the Vedanta. Honestly, I mean, I was 18, I was 19. It's not that I'm going there to listen, but I'm going there to have fun because I love the joy of putting up something, putting up a stall, serving others, helping them. That's my interest. But I didn't realize that very unconsciously I was learning. I was learning and I was assimilating, I was not consciously, but definitely I was unconsciously digesting. And this happened for many years. Then I came to Bangalore. I think I let go my association. Life happened to me like with anybody else. Consciously, I never did anything, but I always wanted to get back to dance. I always wanted to get back to music. In I was working in a full-time job. I was the HR. I did talent management. I was the OD head, and I did many roles. Whenever there was a party, I didn't need booze to dance because I just needed a rhythm. The music and the rhythm was in my body. Any opportunity to sing. I used to go for these puja, and when somebody would say, sing immediate, and the childhood songs that I had learned would come through me. I would be surprised. How do I even remember the lyrics? So art was always there at the core of my life. But one more thing, which was a very big, I would say, deterrent or resistance, was this belief that I carried: I'm not good enough. I left music halfway. I left dance halfway. They are better than me. Somebody went to a dance school when I wanted to pursue dance as my career, and I did commerce, which was something I never understood. How the hell these numbers come together? Number crunching was always difficult. So I always thought that I'm not the Jnana Yogi person. I can't think. I'm better at feeling. And then when I went to organization, I was like, I'm the only HR person who thinks, who feels, but everybody talks about processes, systems, workflow, all of that, which was so alien to me. It was very hard for me to understand, why am I so different? And I'm not okay being so different. And it's like, why am I made this way? Why am I so not good? This not good enough really was like this black spot in this artist. I neither acknowledged myself as an artist, nor did I acknowledge, that I have this, I'm not good enough. It was not conscious, but it was like this. I always have this image of a pot, an earthen pot, which has got this multiple small holes, which are leaking the water inside that. So how much ever we fill, how much ever accolades I got, whatever achievements I had, energy kept leaking, energy kept leaking, energy kept leaking. And I understood this after several years of this leak when I started my journey with a therapist. And when I did that, I mean, several years, and I realized, oh my God, this is what I call a bottomless pit. So keep filling it, the pit has always, as a hole down. So it'll keep going, it'll keep going, it'll keep going. And that journey actually made me aware that I think I need to find resourcefulness within. How long will people tell me I'm good? How long would that bottomless pit remain bottomless? Isn't it my responsibility, like you rightly said, designing my life? And I said, I am that architect. Of course, with the spiritual wisdom, I understood also that I have chosen to take birth to this set of parents, these set of circumstances, these set of beliefs also. But then when I come on earth, it's my responsibility to live it and to create whatever I want.
Exactly.
And I have been very I have been doing that. I have not left a stone unturned. At some point of time, I had two therapists, multiple courses I would be a part of. I went to Vedanta, I went to the Western wisdom, I went to dance therapy, I went to art therapy, to counselors, to everything. And then Eurythmy happened to me 7 years ago. When I met Eurythmy, I felt I'm home. I genuinely felt I'm home because it was not about just movement. It's a form of movement, but it was not about movement from the limbs, from my hands and legs. It was soul movement. It was movement which originates from my inner, which is seen in the outer. So it's exactly how I wanted to live life, the inner and the outer congruence. And what better than loving, doing something that you love with this kind of a combination? So energy also is worked upon, and there's a movement also in it. And I love movement. Like I just love to move, and I love dance. So it was like the best combination to have happened to me. I struggled a lot with it because the inner had to be worked upon.
Right.
A lot of roadblocks, and yeah, it was tough. My teachers never gave up on me, and I think I didn't give up on myself. And here I am today. I teach children, I teach adults, and I think I live that life of congruence. I live that life of alignment. That's what it brought to me, an inner, inside out alignment. And that's precious. I will not let go that for any damn reason. Because once you taste a sweet, you almost do, know it. You savor it, and then you don't want to let go, and your mouth waters, you're salivating. And it's like that for me, the practice and the outcome from that practice. So that's how, yeah, yeah, that's
You
how.
know, Deepa, when I see you, can I say something with your permission?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Um, when I see you, I see like an expression, a beautiful expression, an expression that comes like, uh, from inside. When you talk about your creativity, your dance, and the way you are creating this with your language, uh, and this expression that is visible to the world. When you tell me that, um, you were born in such a family and you questioned a lot of rituals. I see you as somebody who never conformed. Okay, and as subtle and beautiful as you are also like fire, because while there is an expression, there is also this fire of defiance. And I won't listen to this because you're telling me, but because I am experiencing this,
Yes, yes,
and I
exactly.
am saying it because it's a place of knowing,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And this conditioning that you questioned, I'm sure was not easy. You were born to your parents and to this life for you to get onto a certain path.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
how did that feel to you? How did this expression of your authentic self get louder?
Mm, yeah, I think it's beautiful as you summarized it. It resonated deep down, and thank you for picking it up so beautifully, so artfully. Um, Actually, I never rebelled when I was a child, and I always conformed. And that was the reason I think now that I've had an autoimmune condition called psoriasis. I got it, I think, when I was 6, 7 years old. And I always wondered, that I was such a happy, bubbly child. Everybody would know me for the smile and being alive, bringing aliveness to the space around. How could I be even suffering or even imagine feeling suffering? But as I grew older, I realized that we have an inner self and there's an outer. And when the two are exactly the way it's meant to be and aligned, that's called authenticity. And that's when there's peace. I do not think for a large part of my life there was authenticity. Maybe that's a phenomena of the last 10 years, just a decade. And I'm 46 right now. So it has been, there was always an inner rebel and there was an outer harmonist.
Mm.
So I believed outside there must be harmony, not rock the boat, conflicts are not okay. So huge beliefs. And then all those things which I pushed down in the shadows would really, really, I would say, stink inside, but
Yeah.
cannot come outside. And then how will it come? It will come through my skin, either through dryness, irritation in my skin, psoriasis, scaling, and boils. Everything would come out from the skin. So for me, skin, I started hating my skin. But the last 10 years, I started loving my skin because I realized that, and this wisdom actually came to me from the 3-year biography course that I went for. So, as a psychologist, I love Eric Erikson and not so Jung. Yeah, these are the two psychologists I really love. Yet I felt something was missing. And what was missing for me is the spirit in the matter. Matter is not good enough for me. Something was missing, and that's what I got when I did the Dr. Rudolf Steiner's biography course, which was a psycho-spiritual way of understanding development, human development, that had account for karma, that had account for destiny, that had account for illnesses in a very different perspective. Looking at the body from a different perspective, looking at your shadows from different perspective, looking at relationships, the presence and the lack of relationships from a different perspective, looking at shadows from a different perspective. So when I understood that, and 3 years I immersed myself in that, I realized that there's an inner and outer, and the more I'm congruent, the more it's better. The more I'm incongruent, yeah, it's not good for me. That is when I understood my illness. That's when I started looking at my body. I even looked at my body. Until then, body was, I abused it. I used to pull, I used to overwork. Workaholism was my favorite addiction. And it's also glorified, no? My managers are happy, organization is happy. So kya hai? And the other addiction was shopping. There are so many clothes I would shop and never use it, because the moment I've shopped, my addiction need is over, only to begin yet again tomorrow. But I never needed clothes. So it was very, I could never understand it. But with this, when I paused for 3 years, I understood every damn pattern. It was so empowering for me to, first of all, acknowledge ki, it's not that I don't know. I am screwed up, but all's not lost. I can redeem myself and I can do it. I don't need to depend. And at the same time, parallel therapy was on. So breakdowns can be processed there. I have a secure space. I have a therapy group and I'm secure there. So there is a lot of security. And I must say, this is when I started realizing the power of sisterhood, of what women can do to me, how women can hold space for me, and how a woman is Shakti. And then I also embarked on this journey of really looking at what's the question was, what is it like to be in the body of a woman? This is a question I'd never asked 8 years ago or 9 years ago, because there is again a belief that women have to have to take care of so many things. They are multitaskers, but there must be a reason why I'm born to a woman, and it's not a great feeling to be born a woman. That is what I have heard. So to an extent, I was not so proud, forget being proud, almost thinking, oh my God, I'm going to menstruate again this month. Again, it's come. Again, I'll be down for 4 days. I will not be able to work. So many things associated with it. Somewhere that in that time of befriending a sisterhood and my womanhood, I started asking, okay, what's it to be in the body of a woman, right from the top to the bottom? What is beauty for me? Who is a goddess? What clothes do I like to wear? How do I want to dress up? What is menstruation for me? What is the process really? And those were very, very fruitful questions in my journey. It allowed me to completely synchronize inside with my biological clock and with the circadian rhythms, and understand, okay, this is a possibility. And I've had wonderful mentors come into my life to hold that inquiry. And I used to synchronize my cycle with the moon, converse with the moon, looking at my moods with the moon's movement. So that kept happening. At the same time, I started developing a connection with the sun and sun's movement. So it was very interesting. In the morning, looking at the sun was my first thing. And for me, that's fire. Fire came from there. And the moon was contraction, was holding, was really empty and all of that. Very much later, I understood that, okay, I am kind of developing the capacity to be the fire and to be the coolness. And I can act in tandem with both, and I can hold both. I don't need to be fiery at the cost of my coolness. I don't need to be cool at the cost of being harmonious. I can be fiery and be okay with it. So this has been, and as much as I would say psychology played a role, there was spirituality, there was silence, there was observation, there was contemplation, there was our texts, there was
Mm.
deity worship, looking at the deity and seeing who am I and how am I similar to the goddess I'm looking at and appreciating. What does it take to be me, for me to be her, and her to embody, her to be me? So these are all inquiries, and I've held inquiry for a very, very long time. I was never quick to want those answers. And holding those questions was very powerful for me, because then it also developed my capacity to embrace expansion.
Right.
And like the sun, which really there's a center and there's a periphery. The periphery
Mm.
you can't touch, it expands. Where is the end? There's no end. The center is strong. So
Yeah.
somewhere I started mirroring that for myself.
What a beautiful comparison that was. Very articulately expressed. Um, I love the way you also bring in the whole aspect of Shakti and the Devi, and that is what she is about, right? She's like this beautiful, soft, nurturing mother, and at the same time, she is like fire to
Yeah,
destroy all of the evil around her if she has to, only if she needs to.
absolutely.
And that again is a beautiful expression.
Yes.
What also came to light for me when you were speaking just now was about this entire mind and body connection, and
Yeah.
how, in a way, your body actually screamed out to you, you
Yeah.
know, so that you took the decision to align it.
Yes.
When your soul is saying that this is what I want, and you've conditioned to do what you've been taught to do as a child, when you question that, and then when you listen to your soul, and then when you align it, this beautiful uh, merging of these two to find this path that you're on, which is the mind body connection, and
Very,
how you also take the experience of your corporate life and leadership,
yes.
being an HR leader, when you
Yeah.
take it and you incorporate that into this. I think it's a beautiful merging of, I think it's like that perfect balance,
It is
just.
true. It is true. Absolutely. And like I say, leaders, no? So when I finished my expressive arts therapy course, they asked us to choose what's the population you want to serve. It was great to go to people with disabilities and all of that. It was a nice way of giving back. Somehow, even then, this happened in 2013. I chose leaders, and being one, for so many years before that, I realized that if somebody had really taught me or taken me on this path, I probably would have delivered my work with ease and flow. I didn't have to quit to deliver, success. So success with balance, is a paradigm which is really not so clear to people. They think that if I have to get a promotion or accept a promotion, I will be transferred and it will upset my balance. And therefore, either I can have success or balance.
Yeah.
This paradigm to hold the two together is not very clear. And it's an effort, of course. It's an effort for all of us. But is it impossible? No. Why do you want to leave one for the other? It's like just success is on one foot and balance is just on the other. Put the both of them together and stand no on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, a leader can say, I don't have time, I have to achieve targets. But it's like the seed telling, I don't have time to root, let me just shoot. Is it possible? Sustainable? No. The seed has to root and you have to give it time.
Yes.
Which seed has grown without rooting?
Especially if it has to be authentic and if it has to come from the inside, because you can use business school funders everywhere, but what like authentically calls out to you from the inside is what you will also be giving out. And lots of leaders, I'm not saying every leader, but I'm saying many leaders are struggling to find their purpose, where a business school is telling them that, this is what you're supposed to do. These are the marketing principles. These are the principles of leadership. These are this.
Yes.
And, if you kind of tick off everything on that list, you are a good leader.
Yes.
But then there is something missing. Why do they feel that?
Exactly. Why is the void?
Yeah. And
That's the question.
that is what you actually plug in.
Yes, because see, what they are getting is skills, which is above the iceberg. Above the iceberg, we know it's 10%. Below the iceberg is 90%.
Right.
And this is what I have been realizing about myself. Why did I have breakdown? Why did I have this psychosomatic condition? Why all of that? Because below the iceberg, so much was running, and that's all invisible. That's not in the visible zone. It's not like the cut that you have on your skin, which then you can cover up because it's a wound you can see. But what's running in beneath, it's an energy leak.
Yes.
It's like those holes I described in a pot. So when that's happening and you can't see it, then what do you plug? What is the leak that you plug? You can't plug the leak. And that's what today leaders are struggling to see. So they pull on till they can. If there's a breakdown, they'll pop in some antibiotics and then come back to it before the 5 days. I've seen 3 days course, second day they say, I'm better, let me start. Or if it's a 5-day course, third day they're back. And then you'll see a bigger problem. Now, who is responsible? If we are responsible for recovery, we are also responsible for what we are creating. And when will you understand? When will the leader really wake up? And I say leader specifically because I think a leader impacts the entire ecosystem. The higher you go, you impact not just the people who are your peers, your seniors, your team members, but also people who work for you, people at home. There's so many people who are looking up to you. It's an entire ecosystem that you are supporting. So if I'm able to contribute to that leader will understand. And next time somebody walks in with fever in the office, I will care to say, you have fever, you must be resting. Because I have gone through this journey. It doesn't work. It's a shortcut you're doing. But if they're not sensitized to it, how the hell will they do it? Will they be able to tell their team member? So it's a sensitization we need. And for that, there's a journey needed. Now, I've gone through this journey for 10 years. If I tell a leader, it'll take you 10 years, it's not going to happen. So then, and this is my purpose. My purpose is to facilitate conscious leadership. When I'm saying conscious leadership, it is bring success, which is just 10%, with balance, which is the 90%, which is the entire iceberg. So I kept thinking, and it's been on my thought for several years now. And that's when just now I have recently announced my cohort. It's a group coaching program. It's a 6 months journey. Okay, 10 years, can you give 6 months? And that's when I announced Purnatva. So that's, and when I acknowledged what needs to birth through me, is when I felt this is my contribution, to earth or to humankind, to people. It's not for faint-hearted. It's not for those people who say, "Acha, mere paas, I have money. Okay, so let me pay." It's for those people who are saying, "I'm aware, I'm conscious. Something is missing. I don't know what. Maybe this is the way to do it."
Yeah, because I think people are so caught up in trying to treat the symptoms that they forget what the cause really is.
Exactly.
And
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Your course seems fantastic. I've seen some parts of it, and I was very inspired by this. And I see how you call it birthing, because truly it is your baby, and
It is.
uh, we would love to hear about your baby and what it is that you want to put out.
Yeah, yeah,
What is it all about? How did this come, together, and what is the intention, and what is it
yeah,
that people can expect?
yeah, yeah. So it is birthing because I feel, I'm a mother of two children, and I know what it takes for the baby to be in my arms. And it is not simple, it is not easy. It takes its time. You can't you can only check whether it's growing correctly, but you can't check it out and say, this looks good, now put it back. Not possible. So it's exactly like the plant, like the seed and the rooting and the shooting. So that's why I think, I mean, it just came out, and I resonate with it also. I feel it's birthing. And it feels almost like I have taken so many years of hardships, suffering, awareness, learning of techniques, correction, feeling inside out to reach this birthing process. So for me, I think it's taken 46 years to really come here, because when I birthed, all these conditions I came with. I came with a set of parents. I came with a set of uh, personality problems. All of that I came. It opened itself or emerged as I was aging, as I was growing. And then today where I am, I can see my entire life, and I see what led to what. I have an entire perspective. It's a very different. It's so empowering. It's a perspective that is very empowering because I have learned my life's lessons. I also know whom I'm going to learn further from. It's all come to me. So, which is why this Purnatva, first of all, the name, again, it just came to me. And Purnatva is basically the principle of wholeness, the principle of success and balance, success with balance. Because I am an ambitious leader. Okay, I call myself that. And the day you tell me stop being ambitious, I will die. I don't think there is any meaning for me without ambition. I love success. I love the taste of success. I love the ring of the word success. What's missing is when success comes at a cost. And that's what used to happen to me when I was working. When I did not know what are the principles of balance. And at 18, when I was 18, I got introduced to this framework from the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is called the Panchakoshas. In yoga, it is used extensively. And it's about the 5-layered human being, where you have the body, the Annamaya Kosha, the breath, that's the Pranamaya Kosha, or the principle of balance. The Manomaya Kosha, which is the emotional body, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the intellectual body, and then the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss body. And this was taught to me by my then teacher, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, who's a celebrated author now, who has this, who's written so many bestsellers, and he always remains my first teacher. And when I learned that, it intrigued me. Not that I sustained that learning, but I think, like I said, I learn overtly and covertly. I think it was there somewhere behind. And whenever there was breakdown, what I observed was the biggest killer for me was my thoughts and my emotions. It was never the body. I correct that, and the body would heal. My psoriasis wounds, I used to go to doctors, nothing happened. When I just touched my wound, and I realized that in my mind, my thought says my legs are yuck, to my legs are touchable. I shifted that thought. My feeling changes from disgust to neutral. Disgust to no neutral, not love, but disgust to no disgust, just neutral. The moment that changed, the wound started behaving differently. And when I shifted from disgust to really love, it took a while. Honestly, psoriasis has never troubled me. So I realized that the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, is the last to be impacted when the others are not taken care of. And I think for the last 10 years, this is how I've lived my life. And also, that's the way I also work with my clients. So while I'm in the world of leadership coaching, the way I coach, the perspective with which I coach is spiritual. They don't need to know anything about all of this, but that's the frame I use. And the frame always says that you are very resourceful. The opposite person knows all the answers. You're resourceful. I'm a medium. I'm an instrument. And Purnatva was happening even in the one-on-one conversations. It is really not new. Very recently, about a year back, when somebody asked me to give a session on Panchakoshas in another group, and when I put together and I put client examples, I said, "Oh my God! I mean, 7 years ago also I have client examples which exactly talks about this. That means I've always used it. I was doing it unconsciously, like any other thing. It just comes to me." And that's when I realized that when we look at a human being, and I'm telling you examples of a very senior Asia Pacific sales head from another country, and when he had this intense stomach pain, I worked with the Panchakoshas framework to really look at what's the thought and the emotion behind it, and then looking at issues with confidence. We didn't deal with the stomach pain. We entered the stomach pain, and he dialogued with his stomach. He dialogued with the sensations. He dialogued with the wound to listen. And my only job was to hold space for it. He established connection. He did everything. And he found out what's the narrative, and he could find that this was a narrative he had picked up from someone when he was 3 years old. And that was coming in the form of this stomach thing. Then I asked him what you need to do. So we are operating at different layers. We are not aware. And it's so amazing that when you go to the layer that you're supposed to go, the other layer automatically gets curated. There is a cure for it. I'm not talking about severe illnesses. I'm not saying that this is a solution to not going to a doctor. But this is an alternative way of looking at it. And it's possible. And I do use it in my coaching sessions when needed, when it's chronic. So is the guy not impacted when his body has an illness? He's impacted. He cannot achieve success. But you know what? He does achieve success. How? By dragging his body to achieve that success. So he is going to be successful. He's going to achieve success at a cost. So be rest assured, 1, 2 years, 3 years down the line, he will land into hospital. Okay, because he's doing it at some cost. And that's my vision for humankind. My vision for humankind is you achieve success not at a cost. You go to the hospital, no problem, for a proactive checkup, health checkup, not because of a breakdown. Yeah, and this comes under the space of leadership coaching. It is about health and well-being. It is about proactively saying my body is damn important. Like my mind and my spirit can achieve the vision, but my body has to come along. It can't be dragged. It's a drain. So when all of this have to be in tandem, and which is why Purnatva came in this form, because if I'm doing it with one individual in closed doors, why can't I do it with a group of people who are like-minded, who need it? And can we do it in a sustained manner over a period of time? That too, the most important thing here is rhythms or habits. We've read Atomic Habits, and that became like the bestseller. People have so many things happening. That's the way, that's the name of the game. You achieve success through that process only. So how can you create small habits which can lead you to your recovery in the space of the body, the mind, the energy, the emotions, and your purpose? Because today I may have a purpose. 6 months from now, I may forget it. And that's what has happened. And my favorite in this space is Peter Senge. And, he's authored the 5th discipline. And there's one of the discipline, which is personal mastery. I got introduced to it in 2009 when I was going through a major life crisis, a midlife crisis to that extent. And after that, I realized that every 6 months, I need to do this. Because when I'm transacting, I can get transactional, but the purpose uplifts me. And that's a habit. So every 6 months, it's my habit. So in every space, creating in installing habits is important. So Purnatva is a journey where 8 to 10 people will come together and uh, achieve outcomes that we wish to achieve in the space of um, success with balance, in the space of the body, in the space of my emotions. We don't even know what we feel at this point in time. I mean, you're aware. If I ask you, I know you know it, but we don't know what is the repertoire of emotions. We don't have a vocabulary for that. I want to share with participants what's the vocabulary for your emotions. And then if you're feeling sad or scared, you can feel it and acknowledge. You don't need to be in that space. So how do you transform your emotions from negative to neutral to positive? How do you transform your thoughts from limiting mindset to neutral mindset to an expansive mindset? How do you really befriend your body? How do you take care of body? How do you install habits? And I'm going to ask, what's the habit you've installed for your success and for your purpose? And are you in alignment with that? So if I ask for 6 months, I'm hopeful that it will be a habit for people. And then they'll start asking themselves, am I following this habit? So it's it's a vision. It's a vision I hold. The program is an offshoot of the vision. The program is not the vision in itself. It's a vehicle to deliver the vision. And I see that I'm going to run multiple batches. I'm going to do this day in and day out. This is going to be repeating. And it's like when you have a pond and one drop comes, it creates this ripple, no? I love that feeling. So that one drop probably has begun now. It is going to create ripples. And more the number of people, more the number of batches, the ripples are going to increase. And it's going to create beauty. It's going to create health. It's going to create well-being. It's going to create awareness. It's going to create consciousnness. It's going to create this awareness that I have an inner world and I have an outer world. And this alignment between the two. And that's really success for Purnatva. That's when Purnatva has lived its purpose. I feel she has her own life. She's alive. I am the mother, and she's the child. But she has her own life. So I'm also holding her with lightness and with awareness, and I'm not so stuck. It's not my identity, but it's a very important part of my life. She is a very important part of my life.
You've just created a very, very beautiful picture in my mind about this mission that you have, which is to really link leaders, and really get them aware of their purpose and how you actually extract what's inside them, that's incubating to give birth to greatness in its truest sense.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely right. Greatness, leaving a legacy, something bigger than you.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I feel. That's what is needed for me in this life. And yeah, I'm going to be at it.
I can say that. And I will try and spread it to as many people as I can, because I see the greatness of this purpose and this mission. And, I could like talk to you forever and ever
Thank
and
you.
ever. But unfortunately, time
Yeah,
does not.
thank you.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
the
I
the
hear
thing
you.
is, the thing is that I would really like to acknowledge you, and I know that acknowledgement is something that you really do, you are aware of. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would like to acknowledge you for the love and care with which you have dealt with, yourself, how you've handled yourself, and what you put out to the world, that people can receive and understand.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
it is definitely beautiful, and it's courage and facing your fears in its truest sense. And you will definitely be able to enable a lot of people, a lot of leaders, to be able to connect to their greatness.
Thank you so much. In fact, when you say it, I almost feel like you've seen me in, because love is the core of my being. It's like I don't do anything, I'm okay. As long as I'm in my inner, because love is the vibration I connect with most. That's the biggest lesson my psoriasis taught me. And that day is when I realized it. So it's like there is no life for me. It's like breath. Love is like breath. Uske bina, I mean, I think I'm half. I'm adhura. So it's so beautiful. Like it's so beautiful to be loved, to be in love, to spread love, to access love, to show love, to receive love.
And love with absolutely no conditions.
Well, this is debatable. This is debatable because I tell you, when I give love, no, my heart expands. And I am receiving at that time. And that expansion is very dear to me. So it may seem it's not with conditions, but actually I am receiving. And so it's not really selfless in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that it can be ever selfless, but it is no strings attached to a large extent.
Yeah, but it's also an awareness of that this is what I truly want and what I deserve.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That is there, and I am truly in my skin when it comes to love, receiving and giving.
Very, very beautifully expressed. So, Deepa, I am so grateful to you for
Thank you.
coming on today, sharing your beautiful message. I wished we could have spoken more on this, but I will definitely share out the details of how people can reach out to you. And they can probably get in touch with you and learn more about this beautiful um, expression of their greatness that they can understand.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed.
Thank you, and so did I. So this is the Energy Architect signing off, and I'll see you next time for my next podcast. Thank you so much. Atma Namaste.
Thank you.